Right? Every physical therapist is starting a cash practice. While they think it's unique, it is not unique. There's nothing unique about starting a business that charges patients money for your time. There's not uniqueness to that. There's uniqueness beyond getting it growing, but maybe the marketing for your niche. But it's like just these kind of like to make your first couple $100,000. It's unique to you, not unique to Aaron. And I can get you faster results in a group, but that's how I ended up going more towards like group. But the course was, it's like, I can record this I can record this at home and have thousands of people consume it and watch it and get help.
This episode is brought to you by PT Pintcast Media. If you've ever thought about launching your own podcast to grow your brand, your clinic, your business, or maybe just to have fun, this stuff can be fun, I can help. My team here at PT Pintcast Media can help you launch your show. Drop me an email now, jimmy@ptpintcast.com. Today, it's the guy who said no thanks to the traditional PT model. Then he went and built a 6-figure cash-based clinic from scratch. Then he taught thousands of other clinicians to do the same thing. He's part therapist, part entrepreneur, part business coach, and definitely not afraid to say what everybody else is thinking. Whether it's dodging insurance drama, building wealth as a provider, or sipping bourbon while dropping truth bombs, he's the PT industry's rebel with a revenue plan. On PT Pintcast today, Aaron LeBauer. Aaron, this is the obligatory. How you been? Part of the podcast. How you been?
Okay.
We last talked. You doing all right?
Yeah, dude, I'm doing great. I mean, but I'm doing good today. Some days are up, some days are down, like everyone's life,
I feel like, listening to you create content since before we called it creating content, it was just like saying stuff, right? But take us back. What made you decide to, I don't think I ever asked this part. People know you as like cash-based, right? What made you decide to do that? I don't think I knew this is like the Batman's parents were murdered in front of him and Superman's planet was exploded. What was your like straw that broke the back that was like, you know what, in a world of insurance, I'm not.
Yeah. I think part of it was there's a couple pieces of the journey. Part of it was, let me start from saying that, I think my girlfriend shared this, like one of these Instagram reels with me. And it was just basically like these two guys discussing is like, it's time when times are changing or, something new is on the horizon when what is hard easy for you, what is hard for others is easy for you. But then what was easy for you now becomes hard. And so I don't know if I know I butchered that, but I graduated PT school. I started cash practice and, there was a lot of online forums. So 15 years ago, a lot of the education groups and APTA would have like more of a forum that's more like what Discord kind of is, or maybe Slack might be with different channels. Those don't really exist anymore. Then it became Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, and then Facebook groups. And so in these forums and some of the LinkedIn groups, I was just being helpful and just, hey, here's what I know. Like, here's how to do X, Y, and Z. People would message me on Facebook or even Twitter, like, hey, I'm trying to do it. And so I got to this point. So for me, running a practice was easy because I had already done it as a massage therapist. I was told no one's going to pay more than their copay for PT. And I was like, well, hey, pretty sure if I'm Dr. LeBauer, I can charge $95 instead of $85. Right. And for the reference, that's way too low. But, I was like, I'm sure, but there's doubt that I was like, so I did that. And that was easy for me running that kind of a business. I'd been doing that already for basically 10 years by the time I graduated PT school. And so, but it was hard for PTs, hard to imagine, PT school wasn't teaching how to do it. So I had a lot of knowledge to share. And what happened was people, I was like, I don't have enough time in the day. I'm seeing 20 something patients a week. Like my spot is 18, but I would see I had 26, maybe 28 patients on the schedule. Wow. Generally see 22 to 24 on a busy week. And that was great. And so I've got that and I've got new kids, and so I'm writing all these things. I'm like, well, how did I get started? I was like, well, I need to write it all down like on a blog or somewhere. So I created a blog. Immediately in that first month, I got a cease and desist, and I got an invitation. So the title for the blog was included someone else's trademark, and which one of my good friends is a trademark attorney and now works for the Department of Justice. I think he still works for the Department of Justice. But he's a lawyer. And he's like, look, they don't have a case. This shouldn't have been approved, but you're not making any money with this. How much do you want to spend? Do you want to spend $10,000, $20,000 to prove yourself right? I was like, no. So we just changed the URL. And so I got a cease and desist station to speak at the Florida private practice meeting. They had like a private practice group that was separate from the APTA. And I did that. And so I created this blog and I was like, but I'm not good at writing. I mean, I'm good at writing. Clearly I can write, but I'm much better one-to-one or in groups or presenting to a group or on video. And I was like, you know what? I need to write a book. But at that time, like Jared Carter and I knew each other. We found each other through we had each made YouTube videos. Like mine was like a foot massage video and it went viral because it hit a bunch of foot fetish blogs. It got 20,000 views overnight. And Jared had one on like treating like a bunion. And I was like, so I'm looking at mine and doing the analytics. I'm like, who's this other physical therapist with a bunion video? And I'm like, and I went to look at what he was doing and I sent him a message like, hey, I have a cash practice like you do in North Carolina. And we had met like a couple years before this story. And so I was like, well, Jared's already kind of written out this stuff in a book. I don't want to like write it out. One, I don't want to try to copy him and do it. But I was like, that's not my mode. And so that was spring. And I was like, I had this epiphany in the summer. I was like, I just need to create a course. I need to create an online course. And that's how I did it because time was so scarce. People were asking me the same questions over and over again.
Right.
And okay, I don't want to answer the same question over again. And that's why I don't do a lot of one-on-one coaching because
you don't want to have to do the same thing.
It's the same questions over and over again, which is different than treating patients one-on-one because every patient that comes in is unique because they've got unique. Every physical therapist that's starting a cash practice, while they think it's unique, it is not unique. There's nothing unique about starting a business that charges patients money for your time. There's not uniqueness to that. There's uniqueness beyond getting it growing, but maybe the marketing for your niche. But it's like just these kind of like like first to make your first couple $100,000. It's unique to you, not unique to Aaron. And I can get you faster results in a group, but that's how I ended up going more towards like group. But the course it's like, I can record this I can record this at home and have thousands of people consume it and watch it and get help.
And some of them have foot fetishes. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah, no, nothing wrong with it at all. That video's probably got 300,000 views on it these days.
Classic.
It's great. I mean, it was really funny. And so I was at a party a few weeks ago and met these guys and they're like, oh, we're content creators. And I'm like, but they were OnlyFans content creators because I was wearing a shirt that said OnlyFans. But that's how they introduced themselves. And I was like, oh, I'm a content creator too, but I just create safe for work content, except my foot fetish video.
Accidental. All right. So you see these things because you talk to so many people who are similar.
Yep.
Right. You're able to see patterns and recognize them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So many PTs feel stuck financially. What they wind up doing is bitching about it in Facebook groups, which I'm sure feels cathartic for 5 minutes. Doesn't solve your problem, though.
Nope.
Student loans, low pay, burnout. What's the real opportunity you see in 2025 that others are missing, that others are just going to bitch about it and do nothing? What should they be doing that Aaron sees?
Yeah. Well, the first thing you should be doing is don't do what everyone else is doing that used to work and it's not working now.
Step one, very much.
Like number one is just don't try to, so that's the thing is like, people are like, oh, let me do this thing that worked. Hey, I've even been like,
sure,
what I was doing 5 years ago isn't working now. Okay. It's frustrating. I'm like, all right, I got to find what's the new thing. And the new thing generally, it's the thing that it's almost like it comes to you. It's the thing that 5-10 people are asking you for help for. When people come and they're like, hey, Jimmy, I need help putting together my brand new podcast. I don't know what they ask you for. They ask you for sound thing. Like they ask you for how'd you start a podcast? How do you like, Aaron, how did you start a cash practice? How did you start an online business? Okay, I got a bunch of people asking me for this. Maybe they're one of my clients. He's working with teenage girls between like 10 and 14 on ACL tears, recovery and prevention. Because he's got lots of parents asking him for help. I mean, his kid just went through this thing and he's got that. So we spent some time yesterday, putting this program together is because people are asking for it. So the opportunity isn't necessarily in an online program. The opportunity isn't like a course or an app. It's in what's in front of you that you might not be thinking, or because it's not what you thought you were supposed to be doing.
Right.
That's really it. It's going to be unique. So I do think that there is opportunity in owning business. I do think that there's opportunity in maybe a cash practice or an online business, but it really isn't how you deliver the service. It's the new problem that you're able to identify and now solve, because problems have changed in the last. Problems changed 2 or 3 problem shifts in the last
Right.
few years. I mean, I can tell you this: people right now, for physical therapy, I'm not getting, it's people are coming in, they're coming in for physical therapy. They're like, yes, please, I need this, because this woman said yesterday, still like, well, I was just handed some exercises after my total shoulder replacement. And it's like, clearly what you're doing is more helpful than just that sheet of exercises. And business owners, PT business owners are like, no, they're not ready to buy. They're not ready to do much. And it's a little bit like, okay, it's a harder market in the coaching business, but the clinic is easier. And it's like, everyone's having the same financial issues. So what's the problem? The problem is, we have to solve the problem people want. And that's changing with the economy, with the politics, with technology.
All of it.
Right? Pre-pandemic, who really cared about Zoom? Now everyone's on Zoom almost all day long. And so there's different problems, and the opportunity is in identifying the new one and not getting stuck in what used to work.
This is where it's going to sound weird. I'm going to come to the defense of academics, because
Mhm.
what they teach in school is just 5 or 10 years behind. Just because if you talk to an academic changing a syllabus, believe me, the academics, the people teaching, would like to change things and move faster.
Right.
But the process is so busted. But that's where you're like, well, school's bad. I'm like, school's as good as it's going to be. Like, that's
Yep.
it. School is as good as it's going to be.
Mhm. School's a
Because
means to an end.
correct. It is to prep you for a
Mhm.
license. Even
Yep.
academics, if you talk to them, they will agree. Yes, they are constantly looking for the next. That's why, like, you talk to a really, in my opinion, a good academic, they're the people that inviting guest speakers a lot. Show someone doing the thing so they don't have to just listen to me.
Mhm.
Some of them might be lazy, but most of them are actually looking for outside insights, not someone to, quote, do their job for the day.
Right.
They're actually looking for, like, let me show the students a different perspective, a different voice, and in the vein of tell them what it's actually like out there. A lot of good educators, in my opinion, that's how I spot them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, this is a little off topic, but on topic. When I was in PT school, I had one of my professors was like, patients only need 30 to 45 seconds of hands-on care. And I was like, I disagree. I didn't even wait. I was like, I've made my career in massage therapy because people were going to PT and not getting touched where they hurt. And so I was like, I can't let everyone else, the other 42 people sitting here, believe that that's like an absolute. And she was
Right.
like, jaw dropped. I was like, but it's what we like. There's a lot of different opportunities and truths, but the truth is the one that's sitting in front of you with the person that wants your help.
Yeah. So you mentioned a myth, right? Somebody said something and you're like, listen, I'm going to raise my hand. The biggest myths or lies that PTs are believing right now about health insurance. How do those beliefs hold them back as clinicians or business owners or whatever? What are the big
Right.
things out there that you're like, I'm going to go full LeBauer here and just go off?
That everyone, okay, I think myth number one is everyone, what's the word? It's like everyone's entitled to free healthcare or physical therapy. No, it's like, this is America. Healthcare is like it's not a right. I've lost the word in the concussion, but it's like, it's not a right. Healthcare is not a right in the United States.
Maybe it should be, but it's not.
It should be. Maybe ethically it should have opportunity, but it's not. Healthcare is like, it's a choice. Healthcare is like
You gotta earn it. You gotta go get it.
you got to earn it. It's something that not everyone has access to, right? So just because so there's a reality that not everyone has access to it. So that leads to the myth that cash-based physical therapy is unethical because not everyone can afford it. Well, people can afford what they value. And if they do not value what we do, if they, they're not going to pay shit for it. Like the people that come in here, the BMWs and Mercedes, and they're like, this is way too expensive. And I got farmers come in and be like, here's some cash because this is worth it because I need to use my body every day. And then there's people that come in and they have plenty of money and they're like, I would not go see the other PT, but because what you did here with me, I know it's so valuable. Like I'm going to pay you and I don't care what my insurance is going to pay. Like it's because they value it. And then there's people that couldn't possibly think of paying more than their copay. That's their choice.
Give them,
but
right.
We don't know. And anonymous Joe, on Reddit, these other guys on Facebook or Twitter, like they don't know the context of everybody. It's just like saying, hands-on care is quackery or exercise only is quackery. Like everyone's making these absolute judgments. I don't really get, people ask all so people ask all the time, like, Aaron, do you have any proof that cash-based is better? I'm like, the only proof I have is that people are paying me $300 an hour. Like, is that good enough for you?
It's good for them. Right? Like
right?
That person has said that they've decided that I'm going to spend my time and money here.
Yep,
this is what
absolutely.
I want.
Absolutely. And so, I was telling my girlfriend this morning, I was like, if their real condition was, I just don't have money in the bank, I'll make it work for them to come see me. But the objection isn't for 95% of people isn't, I don't have money in the bank. It's like, it's too expensive. I need to use my insurance. And so this isn't really the myth, but the problem is insurance companies have promised us as consumers free healthcare. Promise isn't like not the explicit stated promise, but this marketing promise, implied promise is that you pay me every month and we'll take care of you.
Right.
And that's not how the way it works.
But then read the fine print.
That's not how
and
the
now
way it
we
works.
get to be the bad news in the fine print.
Or PTs coming in 2025, they're like, can't fathom charging more than $75, $85 an hour. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like $75 an hour, that hardly covers the cost of it, and getting, money from the insurance company.
Are you still staying late just to finish your notes? Athelis Scribe uses ambient AI to auto-generate documentation, so your notes are done before you leave the room. You want to see how it works? Email me now at jimmy@ptpintcast.com. I'll give you a quick demo. Have you seen, there's a post, and this circulates every once in a while, and I've seen multiple people share it. It was a picture of a job description with a salary, and it was in the entryway at a Buc-ee's. Are you familiar with Buc-ee's?
Yeah, I know Buc-ee's. Yeah.
So essentially, it was like a general manager at Buc-ee's. You were gonna, and just for context for the audience, I'm gonna describe it, and you correct me or fill in where I'm wrong. It's a rest stop, but it's like the most rest stop.
It's like the Texas rest stop.
It's a Texas rest stop. So it's huge, and then it's got off the wall products, and people love some of their foods. Like they'll like drive for miles and miles to get their corn chips or pork rinds, whatever. People love it.
Yeah, beef jerky.
And if you've driven anywhere from New York to Florida, it reminds me of like Pedro's. Remember Pedro's?
No, I don't know Pedro. Oh, you mean the one south of the border? There's a south of the border.
Pedro was like their mascot.
Yeah.
Back in the day before social media, these guys had a rest stop in, I believe it was in Savannah.
Yep.
And
100 miles on the way, that's just a billboard. Yes.
You see intriguing, thought-provoking, well-written billboard, thought-provoking, intriguing billboards. And by the time you got to south of the border, you had to stop. Like you had to know what it was. Spoiler alert, it was just a rest stop, man. And it had a bunch of, things and whatever. But the goal was they understood their job. Their job was to create intrigue. But back to Buc-ee's. So the photo from Buc-ee's is a job description for a GM of Buc-ee's. And I believe, I'm going to make up the salary, but it was like $150,000.
Yeah.
And then PT's got a hold of it. And they're like, look at this. You could go run a rest stop and make $150,000. Or you could be a PT, starting salary $90,000. Right. And there's just a couple of things that are wrong with that. Number one, like, do you want to run a rest stop? Then do that. Or do you want patience and do this? Then do that. But that's what these things are paying you if you follow the guideline. Look, you could make $1 billion if you opened a rest stop, right? A chain of rest stops. The question is, what business do you want to be in? But the thing I want to say back is, those aren't the only two options. You don't have to accept a salary. If you say I'm worth more, you can't just say I'm worth more and then bitch at that person and wave your finger at them. You can either prove the value to them to make you so valuable they can't get rid of you and they have to pay you that, or leave and laugh all the way to the bank.
Right.
But don't bitch about it in a Facebook group.
Right. Well, and there's also this like, I mean, hey, look, I'm 50. I'm kind of getting old. Younger generation doesn't want to work as hard. Well, it's not even work as hard. It's like they want like, okay, here is my job description. I'm going to work within the parameters of that. But you come to me and you're like, hey, Aaron, I'm going to do this. Hey, what if I if I brought in some other people longer for these other services? One of the things that PTs don't really get is that some patients just want to be touched. And as a massage therapist, I was like, let's book you in every month or every week forever because it's a wellness service. PTs are like, if I touch you too much, it's unethical. I've done too much
Right.
and I don't really need to see you anymore. And people come to Aaron and go, well, yeah, they worked on my shoulder, but I still can't lift weights. And they didn't even want to touch my neck, my back. And I'm like, why wouldn't you do that? Even offered, it's like not even in the realm of possibility. Say, hey, look, I can help you with these things. It's just going to cost a extra $1,000 for 10 visits. It's $100. My daughter, I did take her for register for a camp physical, but also to get her ADHD meds refilled. And the nurse at the family physician's office was like, oh, I have to set up 2 separate appointments. I was like, why? She's like, well, insurance won't pay for both of those visits at the same time. I was like, you know what? My time, like I'm only going to come in for one. I was like, I'm pretty sure, this is the second time I heard, I'm pretty sure Dr. So-and-so is smart enough to handle both of these issues in the same 35-minute visit. She's like, yeah, but insurance won't pay. I was like, are you sure? I was like, I'd be happy to pay an extra $50 if that meant to save myself an extra trip. And so what she ended up doing was, it's like, well, we can do a Zoom check-in. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like
it's a game.
But it's ridiculous that I'm not being asked, well, you know what? Insurance isn't going to cover it, but it would only cost an extra $50 because it's a 15-minute visit. Dude, I'd be down. But physical therapists aren't even, that's even another opportunity is to say, insurance is only going to pay for this patient to get so good.
Right.
But what if the patient valued it enough to pay another $1,000 or another 8 to 10 visits? And this is really low priced. Like, could you help them with these other things? Yeah, you absolutely could. But the practice pattern, the mindset, the mentality, working, like if you're working in post-op orthopedics, a lot of people aren't really evaluating the patients. They're just getting the patient's protocol. And to me, that's not really physical therapy. That's also up for debate, but that would ruffle a lot of feathers. I'm sure there's a lot of orthopedic PTs like, oh, we do all this great. I'm like, yeah, but are you taking people off the street? Are you pulling them? I mean, dude, going around and making sure people don't throw up after surgery in the hospital. I did that for a day, and I was like, as a student, I was observing. I was like, I'm not doing that again. There's no skill in that. Like, why as a PT, why am I going to grad school to do this? I was like, this is not skilled, and this is at due cost. Like, some people like it.
Sure. I want you to update what you talked about last year, right? You just mentioned at the start of the show, what worked 5 years ago, is it working now? It's different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what worked a year ago, because this is how fast we're moving now. What worked a year ago might not be working now. So what is working right now for PTs building? Like they're in that, okay, let's do this. I don't feel like I'm there yet, but I'm still building mode. What's working for those PTs building cash practices right now in this economy? What do you see?
Yeah. Getting in front of people. It's still, but it's like the thing that people don't want to do. You got to get in front of people, and it's still, so what's not working, I'll get some leads off of Instagram, but majority of people that follow me on Instagram on my clinic are PTs. They want to see what I'm like, great. Right. The email marketing it works. It's good, but it's the best thing is I did a workshop at a Pilates studio. I get in front of people. I was at the gym and, hey, I want to introduce you to so-and-so. Can you help them? And it's like, it's easy. The other thing that's working is that didn't work in 2020, 2021 was giving people payment plans because people abused it. Like it didn't work for me. It didn't work for a lot of people. It's because, hey, here's your therapy and we're going to do it over 16 weeks.
Sure.
Okay. So, but the version of that that's working for me now is here's your plan of care, Mrs. Jones. We're going to start with 8 visits and that's $2,000 paid in full or $200 a week for 12 weeks. And the first 5 people were like, I'll take the paid in full. And 2 people took, well, I think the weekly would be better. Okay, great. And they're like, is that $200 per visit? And I'm like, no, it's $200 a week for 12 weeks. That's $2,400. You can do those 8 visits as fast or as slow as we both decide is best for you. And if you're done with your visits first, you keep paying. Or if I only see you once a month for 8 months, you're done paying in 12 weeks. Okay. You know what happened to Aaron's rates just went up to 300 because I was like, well, this is another one of those things where I take like, here's my coaching business. Here's an offer that I've made in my coaching business is like a weekly plan or like a, and move it to the clinic, and it switches it such that they're not on a payment plan that they can default on. They're on like it's option A or option B. And this is how I'm going to pay for it. That's working really well for me now in April 2025.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if you diagnosed that or you reverse engineer it, you led with value.
Yeah.
You explained it clearly. And then when they asked what it would take to get that in terms of the cost, when you said that, it felt like they got more than they gave.
Yep.
And that is the value. That is a value proposition, people.
Yeah.
That is how to just explain a value proposition.
Yep. And that really started with, just to go back to the ethical thing, that started a couple kids I know that one's like a pro athlete, and it's like, they don't have a ton of money. And I'm like, well, hey, this is what I'll do. I'll do $1,000 or $100 a visit for 12 weeks. And okay. Or I said like $100 a week for 12 weeks. And I didn't really explain. It really started with them. And so basically they pay me $100. Okay, right. Cool. Like whatever, like, but they're getting value out of it. It's kind of like a semi-sponsorship, and sure. It's, but that's really where that happened. And I was like, oh, I've kind of done this before, and it works. It's working really well for us. And so I think it's just to go back and tell you guys, when people value it, they will pay, and we can always make an exception. But but most people are like, okay, it's worth it because their copays are $5,000.
You can buy shoes from Payless, and Payless makes good shoes. You can buy Louboutins, and you buy Louboutins for. It's funny, is like whenever like the economy or inflation gets brought up, people always say like, somebody explained this to me, and now it's almost a universal truth when I look at it. Needs, not wants.
Right.
People will bitch about the price of eggs or the price of gas or the mortgage rate. Those are needs.
Mm-hmm.
People find ways to buy concert tickets in the summer. People find ways to buy a PlayStation 6 when that comes out. People find ways to buy airline tickets. The question is, are you positioning yourself as a need or a want?
Right. And $8 for grass-fed eggs, a dozen, is still really good price for protein. For the amount of protein that you get, it's still a really good price.
Yeah, they find a way to make it what they want.
Right.
So position that way.
When physical therapy, you're right. When physical therapy is post-surgical rehab, hot packs, leg lifts, ultrasound.
Correct. Yeah,
no one wants that shit.
They'll take it for what they're paid.
Free. Yep.
For free. They'll take it for free. Right. Mm-hmm. I'll take it, but I wouldn't go out of my way to get it. I don't know if I'd even show up. Even if it was free? Maybe not. Probably not. So then it's not even worth a trip. Then you're selling the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're selling the wrong thing. What's the mindset shift that you think most PTs need to make if they're going to break free and build something different? There's a phrase that hopefully I don't butcher. Mm-hmm. It's people won't make a move until the price of inaction
is greater
than action. It's like, if I feel like crap and I'm laying on the couch, but I know working out is hard, I have to feel so awful about not moving that even how much it hurts to move or run or whatever is greater. Yep. So what's that mindset shift? What's the tipping point for who are going to take that leap?
I think the real big thing, Jimmy, not going, all right, I'm going to do this because I'm going to replace my job. I don't like my job. It's like knowing, okay, I'm going to do this, and what I want is blank. In 2-3 years, I ask this to people all the time. Well, where do you see yourself in 3 years? I don't really know. You ever considered making, like, would it be if I, how much do you want to make? I don't really know. I just $1,000. I'm like, why? Well, because that's what I was making at my job, or 5,000. They don't have a vision for what they want in the future. And so it's really hard to build something to get there, or to not shoot yourself in the foot and go, hey, I'm going to charge $75. Or people go, they're not setting realistic goals. And that's to say, okay, in 3 years, I see 20 patients a week, and I don't want any employees, and I just want to make, $180,000 to $250,000 a year. And 10 years out, and maybe in a few years I'll decide to hire someone or not. But when I retire, I'll just shut it down. Okay, cool. I'm like, all right, if you retire and shut it down, great. You just shut down something you worked really hard for, but you built a job. And the real mindset people need to make is, I'm not building a job to replace a shitty one. It's like I'm building a business that helps people and can sustain itself whether I'm there or not, and can move through time and adapt through time, and help even more people. Because if I build a job, I'm just really so a lot of people are just trying to get out of a shitty job, but they don't even know what they want. So if you don't know what you want, you can't build something that's going to serve you.
Yep. Understand what you want first. And that's simple to say. It doesn't mean it's easy. And it should require thought. And it should make you think.
Right.
This isn't cookie cutter. This is you. You're saying you want something different. Think about what that might be. Aaron, we're going to game. Are you ready for game time?
Dude, I'm always ready for game time.
All right. We're going to play a quick game called Cash or Crash. Okay. I'm going to throw out some businesses or trend in physical therapy. You tell us if it's a cash maker or a crash waiting to happen. We'll do rapid fire. You answer cash or crash, and you just like a sentence or two on why you think that. Ready? Starting a clinic right out of school.
Yeah, I mean it can be done. Crash. You just gotta don't listen to the naysayers and the bobos.
Yeah. Bobos. Running Instagram ads for a cash PT clinic. Cash or crash?
I do it. Depends. Yeah.
That's a good. We'll allow that.
Oh, that's
taking insurance just to get more volume.
Oh, that's a crash.
Yeah.
It might not crash tomorrow. That's right.
Are you still stuck spending hours on administrative tasks? Empower EMR automates scheduling, billing, and documentation so you can actually focus on your patients, not your paperwork. Book a free demo now at empoweremr.com. Peter, that's better. Group classes as a cash pay add-on. Yeah. And a great marketing tool too. Like even if you're making a little bit of money on
10 people, $50 a class, $500 an hour.
We're still human.
No.
That's not bad. No. Selling online courses as a physical therapist.
I'm not going to, but I mean, no, people want to be touched. If we're going like cash break, cash break,
all right.
Well, the crash. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You know, how do you?
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
So what was the body weight treadmill that was?
Well, I think the
weight treadmill that
altered.
Fucking crash, dude. A $10,000 cold plunge. Cold plunge. You don't need that. I did this where I think they have a cold plunge in there where it's basically all these modalities. They have like it's a $100 card you can let yourself in, and there's some things that need someone to help. Most you don't. And a cold plunge. But those things, I mean, the hyperized legs is still $900. That's a lot of money to spend for very little. Added value.
I think it depends on how you use it because there's a guy golf, so it's a gym, and then off to the side, it's those the golf simulators and stuff. He's selling it as a membership, selling that with PT, where he's like, listen, come hit bombs with your buddies, and there's a 6-pack in the fridge, and do whatever, and it's a membership coming at 3 a.m, 3 p.m, whatever. And then when you want to get strong longer. You come over here to the gym.
It's not the reason people are showing up, and PT is not the reason that that people are staying. It's a way to but they want to go to something that's like it's an accessory.
No. Yep. But you could position it as listen. Also building this. It's the recovery room. So it's like I got the Normatec boots, I got the cold plunge, I got the red light therapy. Use it. Here's your badge. Come in, use it. And by the way, I'm over here treating patients. And if you ever want a set of eyes on you,
and that's what my client is doing. They call it the recovery, and they've got a bunch of the different like modalities that are that people love. They just love sitting there, and they got like Saturday mornings. What they call it? I can't remember what they called it. It was something really great. And it was like 9 to 11 or 9 to 12 on Saturday mornings is like $20 drop in, and then or it's $100 a month or $50 a month membership. Smart. Yeah. Yeah.
It's smart. All right. You're off the hot seat. That was Cash or Crash with Aaron LeBauer. Last thing we do, Aaron, as always, the parting shot. What's your mic drop moment, soapbox statement as we wrap up?
I think that the last thing is no matter how hard it is, no matter how hard it seems.
Yeah. Where can people catch up with you now?
Best is LeBauer.
Perfect.
Aaron.
Aaron. Dude, how bad is it so long since that skit that some of the audience is going to go, I don't get it. I dropped a Jerry Maguire reference in the Zoom call the other day. 50% of the audience was like blank stares. And I was like, no, it's from Jerry Maguire. And they're like, I don't come again. And I was like, I'm out. I'm leaving the call. It's breaking my heart. This is what happens when we get old, Aaron. All right. Hey, appreciate the time, man. We'll have you back on soon. Appreciate you dropping some knowledge on us.
Absolutely. Thanks again for having me. Appreciate it.
Like what you heard? Great. Subscribe to the show on Apple or Spotify. You can watch the episodes on YouTube. Or don't. I'm not your boss. You want to specialize in ortho, neuro, or sports physical therapy and actually get paid while doing it? Brooks IHL offers accredited residencies and fellowships with full salary, full benefits, and real mentorship from clinical experts. Learn more and apply at brooksihl.org. There aren't nearly enough podcasts in this world. Said no one. Why not launch one more? If you thought about launching a show but don't quite know how, we can help you do all that back-end stuff. Email me at jimmy@ptpintcast.com, and we can add one more podcast no one else will listen to the pile.